The Game is no stranger to rap beefs. It's what he's most well known for besides name dropping in his rhymes. He's also well known for his 20-year-long beef with 50 Cent, which started over Game being disloyal to 50 Cent as he chose not to get involved in 50's feuds with other rappers. Ironically enough, his beef with Yukmouth actually stemmed from his loyalty to 50.
I'm gonna tell you how this shit all started, man. I see this nigga at the little Jadakiss album release party, man. This nigga lounging, you feel me? In the VIP area, I'm in the VIP area. And I know this nigga is in the G unit. I know we shitting on 50. So I approached the nigga to test his water, you know what I mean? See if I'm gonna have to watch my back from this nigga being in LA and him being a G unit nigga. So I ran up on the nigga by myself like, yo, you know what I mean? I'm Yuck. He like, what up, man? Whoop, whoop, whoop. I like your shit. I'm like, I'm feeling your shit too. I ain't fucking with your boss, man. We got beef with him. What it do?
Oakland rapper Yukmouth is most well known for the hit single I Got 5 on It from the Looney's debut album Operation Stackola, released in 1995. He continued releasing albums with Looney's partner Numbskull and started releasing solo albums after signing to Jay Prince's Rap-A-Lot Records. The beef between these two goes back to 2003 when 50 Cent was beefing with Ja Rule and Murder Inc. Heavy. According to Yukmouth, he stepped in to diss 50 because of Jay Prince's ties to Irv Gotti, as they along with Suge Knight had plans to start their own black-owned music distribution company. You know how that goes when we start trying to build for ourselves though. Coincidentally, all three of them around this time started coming under investigation for various alleged crimes.
Just 50 Cent mainly.
Right.
I wasn't even on G Unit like that. I was just on 50 Cent because of our affiliation, Rap-A-Lot affiliation with Irv Gotti. Suge, Irv, and Jay was making a label. So when the shit happened with Irv and them, you know what I mean? You know, like, labels got hit by feds. Like, sure. I don't know, that shit was real.
So Rap-A-Lot Records artists took shots at 50 in defense of the business connection between the two labels. I'm going to be going over that real quick to better set the stage for Yukmouth and Game. In 2003, they released the track Snitch Niggas by Scarface, Zero, and Bun B. On the intro of the track, Jay Prince makes a statement, and then you hear the sound of a coin, which is the same sound the 50 Cent album Get Rich or Die Tryin' started with. That alludes to this being a shot at 50. Scarface and Bun B would come out and say that their verses were old and not aimed at 50, but Zero's verse, however, did seem to be aimed at him, as he references an appearance 50 had on 106 in Park. The track was released on Scarface's compilation album Balls in My Word under the title Bitch Nigga, without the references to 50 Cent. Then in July 2003, Yukmouth released his third solo album, Godzilla. On the album is the track Thug Lords featuring C-Bo. Both rappers diss 50 on their verses. C-Bo has the lines, "Yeah, that nigga 50 he hot, but I heard he's a snitch and he ran up on that white boy, I heard he's a bitch." That is a reference to 50 signing to Eminem's Shady Records. Then on Yukmouth's verse, he makes a reference to the Scarface song, saying he would have dissed 52 if he was on it. Then in March 2004, C-Bo and Yukmouth released a collaboration album titled In Thugs We Trust, which features the track He Ain't a Thug, which features Big Swing, as well as the Silverback Gorillas, which is composed of Begum Smurf and Domination, who were also beefing with 50 at the time. Yukmouth also dissed 50 on the track Stunt 211 from the mixtape United Ghettos of America Volume 2, released later that year. The title is based on the G-Unit single Stunt 101 from their Beg for Mercy album. Throughout the track, Yukmouth and Domination diss G-Unit for being snitches, while Begum Smurf is on the outro. By this time, Game had joined G-Unit officially, and this is where his involvement begins. In 2004, during an album release party for Jadakiss, Yukmouth saw Game at the club and introduced himself in order to find out how he feels about the beef with 50 Cent. Yukmouth would claim that Game stated that that's between them and denied having problems with him.
So I know niggas done heard these songs, and I know he just became a G-Unit nigga. So I'm thinking all this shit in my mind while in the club. I'm like, let me check this nigga temperature, see if I gotta watch my back. I extend my hand. He shake it, you know, I pull him close like, yo, I'm Yukmouth. He like, yo, I'm feeling your shit. I'm like, I'm feeling your shit too. Boom. You know we beefing with 50, you feel me? He like, oh, man, that's between y'all, man. I'm over there getting paid, man. I'm like, you know what? I respect that. Get your money, my nigga.
According to Yuck, he then heard that Game was saying that he checked Yukmouth.
So it get to me, my camp calling me like, yo, the Game checked you at the club? I'm like, what? You know what I mean? Check me? Where this shit come from?
Game then went on to diss Yuck with the track I Got a Mill on It, which uses the beat from the Loonies song and is aimed at Yukmouth, Bang'em Smurf, and Domination. Game starts his verse off referencing other beefs he was in with the lines, "No more bleaking buttons, I was hoping for silence, till the little sleeping beauty went and woke the giant. This little bitch from the Loonies wants beef. He's lying, so I called E40 and tried to cease the violence." He then goes on to reference Yukmouth's beef with Master P with the lines, "You a bitch, how you call yourself the ice cream man when Master P took your name and your ice cream van, made 500 million, that's your homie though. Took your manhood, gave your shit to Lil Romeo." Master P and Yukmouth were beefing over the whole Ice Cream Man song. In 1993, fellow California rapper Drew Down released the album Fools from the Streets, which has the song Ice Cream Man featuring the Loonies. Then in 1996, Master P released an album titled Ice Cream Man. Yukmouth would claim that Master P copied him and started dissing Master P since then. Game then goes on to diss Yukmouth some more for running to Texas and joining Rap-A-Lot Records, and ends his verse with the lines, "When my blood pressure rise, I bring the bloods out. Put the barrel on his neck, blow his guts out. Now that's what you call a Yukmouth." Then on the outro, he disses Yukmouth and Domination some more. He claims an opposing view of how the conversation with Yukmouth went in the club. According to Game, he approached Yukmouth and asked him if he had beef with G-Unit, and Yukmouth was basically scared of him. Yukmouth retaliated with the track Game Over, in which he uses the beat from the Young Buck hit single Let Me In from his major record label debut album Straight Outta Cashville. Throughout the song, Yuck disses Game for things like allegedly getting smacked by Suge Knight, being a fake blood, and having a tongue ring. He also mentions the club situation multiple times, again claiming that Game had told him that he had no beef with Yuck, and disses him for turning around and dropping a diss track after the conversation. He also reveals that Game was on an episode of Change of Heart, which is something that would come up in other beefs that Game had after this. The beef was to be squashed thanks to Speedy, a mutual friend of Yukmouth and Game, by doing a song together. According to Yukmouth, he did his verse and left.
So a mutual friend that know me and him came through and was like, yo, y'all make a song. You feel me? Y'all make a squashy song. I'm like, yo, I'll lay my part first, you know what I mean? And give it to you. I'm out in the morning, so I gotta do this now. If we're gonna do it, I do it. Boom, I lay my part, and I'm bigging him up.
Game used this as another opportunity to diss Yukmouth, as on his verse, he would say that he doesn't want peace, and continued taking shots at Yukmouth and fellow California rapper Gonzo.
But perhaps taking cue from what happened with DJ Clue and Joe Button, the Game, getting the track after Yukmouth recorded his verse, decided to fire more shots. Yukmouth learned a lesson in the art of war.
So he get the verse, you know what I mean? He get on there and diss a nigga.
Yukmouth responded to this with the song and accompanying video Game Over 2 featuring Gonzo, on which they used the track from the fabulous hit single Breeze from his third album, Real Talk. Throughout the video, they're seen kidnapping a Game lookalike with a red bandana, pink G-Unit sneakers, and a G-Unit shirt. They're seen assaulting him throughout the video and pouring liquor on him. Then in 2005, The Regime, which was a group started by Yukmouth, released the mixtape All Out War Volume 1, which has multiple tracks where shots are thrown at G-Unit and the Game. On the Ted Smoke-A-Lot intro, they mentioned how Suge Knight dissed G-Unit and how Young Buck was allegedly robbed for his Unit chain. On the song Here We Come, they dissed G-Unit. Also, the track Go Hard by Gonzo and Dirt Left is aimed at G-Unit and in response to Game dissing Gonzo on the Peace track. Then on the song All Out War, Yukmouth disses the Game once again. Yuck has the lines, "I ain't squashing the Game beef, so fuck the rumors," until he dead and deceased and pushing up petunias. That being a response to Game using the Peace track to diss Yukmouth once again. He also makes multiple mentions of J Prince and Rap-A-Lot Records, reaffirming that this beef was because he's writing for his record label against G-Unit. As the title of the mixtape says, it's all out war, so there's several shots thrown at G-Unit and the game specifically throughout the mixtape. Also in 2005, Spider Loc, who had recently signed to G-Unit Records, allegedly invited Yukmouth to meet him at a club, to which Yukmouth went and wound up getting jumped and robbed for his chain. He wound up getting the chain back later on and squashing the beef with Spider Loc through a mutual friend of theirs.
Spider, he got signed and he's riding for G-Unit, you know what I mean? So we seen each other and some shit went down. But the best thing about that, you know what I mean, we were able to link up a few days later, you know what I mean, by one of the big homies, T.Y. He put us face to face, you know what I mean? We discussed our problems, we squashed, and I got my chain back.
Around this time, the regime put out the mixtape All Out War Volume 2. Similar to the first one, there were shots thrown at the game and G-Unit once again. For example, on the interlude, Lino interviews Game, they have a Game impersonator being interviewed and make fun of G-Unit and the Game, as well as asking Game about him being kicked out of G-Unit, as earlier that year, Game was kicked out of G-Unit by 50 Cent. Then on the track Playing Games, they used the beat from the Game single Put You on the Game from the documentary album and send shots at 50 once again, and of course that title is a reference to the Game. Then there's more shots aimed at them throughout the mixtape. For example, the song Monopoly by Yukmouth is also a diss track aimed at G-Unit. He takes a shot at 50 for being a snitch and calls Game scared because he's beefing with Yukmouth, as well as Jay-Z, and again calls him an ex-stripper and mentions his appearance on Change of Heart. He also disses Daz from the Dog Pound as well while he's at it, most likely for Daz leaving Death Row Records and dissing Suge Knight. Also on the mixtape is the track Back Down, on which Mark Scheist raps in a voice similar to 50 Cent and uses the beat from the 50 Cent song of the same name. Then on the track It's Not a Game by Messy, Marv, and Juice, they rap in a similar style to Game from the song How We Do from Game's documentary album, and they diss 50 Cent and the Game again. Yukmouth also put out the song Wartime, which is also aimed at G-Unit and the Game. Also in 2005, Yukmouth released the mixtapes How the West Love 50 and Yukmouth Presents West Coast Gangsta Volume 15, both of which feature more tracks aimed at 50 Cent and the Game. For example, the track Sucker For Real is a diss track to the Game in which they use the beat from the Game song West Side Story from the documentary album. 50 Cent and G-Unit didn't make much on record against Yukmouth. In an interview 50 had around that time, he was asked about them dissing him, and he said that he hasn't even heard of them before and basically said they weren't worth responding to. Game, on the other hand, being on the West Coast, did respond to Yukmouth and crew. However, he mostly had his hands full with G-Unit himself once he got kicked out of the group and the other beefs he got into around this time. Most of those situations I've covered previously, so make sure to check those out after this to get the details. Later on in 2006, the album Yukmouth Presents The Center of Attention was released, which was an album by iRock, and Yukmouth is featured on multiple songs. On the track I Gotcha, Game is featured on the chorus. Also in 2006, the regime released the mixtape All Out War Volume 3, which features the track I'll Never Snitch. On the song is Yukmouth, Gonzo, Beanie Sigel, Scarface, and the Game, and they diss 50 Cent. Then on other tracks throughout the mixtape, the group takes shots at G-Unit as well. The Game and Yukmouth made peace once again due to a mutual friend. Later on in March 2010, the Outlaws released the album The Lost Songs Volume 3, which features the track One Nation All Stars. Yukmouth and Game are both featured on that song, so it would seem up till that point they were still cool with one another. That next year, however, the beef did seem to reignite briefly, at least, as in an interview with 210 West, Yukmouth spoke negatively on the Game. He spoke about Game making comments about him and then went on to diss Game throughout the interview.
What's the relationship with you and the Game today? Shit, like I said on Beef, like I told niggas, man, we squashed our beef before Beef 3 even came out. You know, but I seen this little dirtbag little artist, you know, try to get up in the little shit when I got robbed and shit, try to post this little shit, man, you know what I mean? So I don't even know what it is, you know what I mean? I can't tell you what it is until I see that dude, man. He's so bipolar. You know, he probably see me and his beef is on again, man. So that dude is wishy-washy, man.
Since then, there hasn't seemed to be much that occurred between the two, at least publicly. You let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Do you think Yukmouth was right to get involved because he was signed to Rap-A-Lot Records? Was Game right for getting involved on behalf of 50 Cent? Were both of them just used as chess pieces in this rap game? Remember to subscribe to the channel and check the links in the description to join the Discord server, follow on other platforms, and become a patron or YouTube channel member.